Hello, welcome to today's BetHelper betting preview. The game we're going to be looking at today is Mexico versus Uruguay. So it's one of the final groups in Group A. It's scheduled for Tuesday the 22nd at 3 p.m. The France versus South Africa game, the other game in this group, is also scheduled for the same time. This one is scheduled for Rustenburg, so we're going to be at altitude in this one. The Asian handicap is actually 0 in this one, so neither team are giving up any handicap in this one. Mexico's odds have actually shortened during the week, while Uruguay's odds have drifted. Uh, the unders and overs, the unders are heavily favoured here. The handicap here has gone from 2.25 down to 1.5, and even since it went down to 1.5, it's after starting to drift again. So they're not really expecting many goals here. Maybe a nil-all draw is what they're expecting over in Asia. Reason why Mexico's odds have shortened while Uruguay's have drifted is probably because Mexico have more motivation for this game, given that if they win, they finish top and they avoid Argentina. If it ends a draw, Mexico will finish second and they will face Argentina. So a win is very beneficial for Mexico in this one. Um, Looking at the betting exchanges, Mexico stayed around where they were, drifted slightly. They were at 3.95, they went up to 4.1, they're now back down to 4s. So again, we'll see where that goes now in the next 24 hours to get a further indication. Uruguay stayed flat throughout the week. They've been at 4.6, so there's not been too much movement there on them. And the draw has shortened. It was at 1.87, it's now down to 1.5. Everyone's kind of jumping on the draw on this one, since it's a result that favours both teams, and both teams will actually qualify for the second round if it does end in a draw. If it is a draw, Uruguay will finish top based on a goal difference with their 3-0 win over South Africa last time out. Looking at the percentages matched, this is a game that had major influx of money very early on in this one. A couple of days ago, it was 5.6 million was matched, and that's now up to 6.1 million. So, not going to expect too much more money going on this. Might double in the next 24 hours, but that would be about as much as it will go. And there's no surprise to see that the draws taking in 97% of the market, which is quite phenomenal, really. And then with the remaining 3%, Mexico are edging it out 2-1. So again, people are factoring in their extra motivation to win. Looking at the bookmakers, Mexico have actually drifted here from 3.6 out to 3.75. So losing a bit of support there. Uruguay have stayed flat throughout the week. They've been at 4.5s all this time. The draw has also stayed flat throughout the week. It's at 1.8, so it's probably one of the lowest draws we've seen, especially from the outset. And the over 2.5 goal market is 3.1. Stay there all week, so it's definitely one of the highest we've seen all tournament, even between two mediocre sides who can't score have had lower odds than that. And at the exchanges, I don't think I mentioned that the over 2.5 goal market has drifted there as well. It was at 3.45, it's now at 3.6. So again, not many people expecting the overs market to win there. Looking at form, Mexico have actually pretty good form. They have 3 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses in their last 6 games. One of those wins was their 2-0 win over France. That draw was against their 1-1 draw against South Africa in their opening game. And those 2 losses were against England and Holland in the pre-World Cup friendlies. I thought they were kind of unlucky to lose both games, especially against England, where I thought they played very well and had the better chances, but just couldn't finish. And looking at Uruguay, they've a very good recent record. They've 4 wins and 2 draws in the last 6 games. That win, obviously, one of those was their 3-0 win against South Africa last time out, and one of those draws was obviously their 0-0 opening draw against France. This will be the third head-to-head of the 2 teams. So far, it's gone each way. Mexico have 1 win and Uruguay have 1 win. In terms of streaks, if Mexico make it to the second round, it'll be their 5th World Cup in a row that they've got to the second round. It will be their 6th time that they've been at the World Cup of getting to the second round, but they weren't in World Cup '90. Italian 90. Uruguay have 3 draws in their last 4 World Cup games, so again, obviously the draw is heavily backed here, but there's another thing to suggest that it will be a draw. In terms of rankings, Mexico come in at 17th on the FIFA rankings, while they're 8th on the ELO rankings. So very good side in form here. And meanwhile, Uruguay are 16th on the FIFA ranking, so just one place above Mexico, so pretty neck and neck here. And they come in at 14th in the ELO ranking, so in pretty good form, but not in as good a form in qualifying as Mexico were. Uruguay are very hit and miss. They had 6 wins, 6 draws, and 6 losses in their qualifying campaign, so that's possibly why they don't rank as highly on the ELO rankings. The referee for this one is Victor Casai. He's from Uruguay, or he's not from Uruguay. He actually reffed the Brazil-North Korea match. He only gave 1 yellow in that game, so he's a pretty decent ref. He likes to let things go and not be centre of attention like we've seen other refs. He's reffed 53 international games. He's given 201 yellow cards, giving an average of 3.79 yellows per game, so that's in and around average. He's given 8 red cards, which is giving an average of 0.15 reds per game, so that's well below average. And he's given 13 penalties, giving him an average of 0.25 penalties per game, so that's in and around average for the referees of this World Cup. And he's actually from Hungary, he's not from Uruguay, which definitely will give Uruguay an advantage if he was. In terms of injuries, Carlos Vela is the only one who looks like he might miss out. He's got a hamstring injury, so that might be their only change there. In terms of goals scored in qualification, Mexico averaged an average of 1.8 goals scored per game, while they conceded an average of 1.2 goals per game. Meanwhile, Uruguay averaged 1.77 goals per game, while they conceded an average of 1.16 goals per game. So both teams score, and they also like to concede goals on every game. In terms of probabilities, the computer probabilities gives Mexico a 23% chance of victory. It gives Uruguay an 18% chance of victory, while it gives the draw a 59% chance of victory. So it's definitely the highest we've seen in all competition, and there's no questions why really. The implied probabilities based on the bookmakers gives Mexico a 24% chance, so it's pretty accurate with their computed probabilities. Gives Uruguay a 22% chance of victory, so that's a bit higher than the computer probabilities, while the draw comes in at 54%. So I think the draw still has some value, even though it is very, very short at the moment. And obviously the next best would be Mexico. Looking at some suggestions. Obviously the draw, you can't really go too far wrong with that really. 97% of the market is on the draw, and it is a result that favours both sides, so it's kind of hard to argue against the draw looking likely. In the handicap markets, you'd obviously have to look to Mexico, given their added incentive for victory. Since if they win, they'll avoid Argentina, whereas if they draw, they will face Argentina. So again, they might actually go to try and nick this game. And obviously the unders looks very, very likely here, given that both sides might look to set up shop and keep a low-scoring game. So to get some updated market analysis and statistic analysis before the game, check out twitter.com/BetHelper and leave any comments below. Subscribe to the channel to get some updated videos on upcoming games. For the last 16, I will be giving videos an hour before kickoff, so that'll give you much more up-to-date information and analysis. And any emails or feedback or suggestions, go to BetHelper.ie at gmail.com. So look forward to tomorrow's games, and thanks for listening.